All right. Good evening. We are starting. This is Likutei Moharan. This is the second stab, as it were, third, whatever. And what we said so far is Rabbeinu started by saying that in Sefer Tznius it says that as long as the world was not constructed with the three lines, the Shloisha Kavim, but rather it was one line on top of the other. What happened was that he says Lohav Mashgichin Apin Be'apin. There was no way for relationship when there's Chesed on the right side and Gvura on the left side. There can be a Tiferes in the middle. There can be a relationship. But if Chesed is on top and underneath it is Gvura, underneath it is Tiferes, each one is the king of the hill, there cannot be any kind of relationship. In fact, the relationship is one of what they call back-to-back. It's usually like, like members of the Knesset that they say, my good friend, whoever, is a good friend. He's a good friend will fry him over a frying pan. It's like, he's a good friend. But that means achor be'achor. That's a relationship of back-to-back. There's no, when each one wants to be the leader, each one wants to be number one, there's no possibility for relationship to to develop. And the Rebbe starts, he says that people wonder why is it so, why is it, why do people have to go to the tzaddik to hear Torah from him? And the answer is that that the tzaddik has cleansed his face. He has purified his face. And when a person looks at the tzaddik's face, a person sees a reflection of his own face. It's not a reflection, it's like a mirror, but it's not a reflection that you see, your physical qualities. You see your spiritual qualities. You see what you're holding. I see how my face is steeped in darkness. And that's a fantastic favor because that enables me to start doing tshuva. That enables me to start getting to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, B'ezrat Hashem. On Motzei Shabbos, when we will talk, we will speak in Mitzvah Hashem about Lag BaOmer. We'll speak a little bit more about that feeling of the face steeped in darkness, and what do you do when that happens? So the Rebbe says that how does a tzaddik get such a pani me'ira, is a clean face, a lichtige face? In the Likutei Moharan over here says that every person is supposed to do that. In the Ksav Yad, it says that the tzaddik has this kind of face. And the way he gets his face is by achieving the perfection of Lashon Kodesh. Over here in the Torah that it's printed, Likutei Moharan, Rabbeinu says that every person needs to cleanse his face via that technique of perfecting the Lashon Kodesh. And we explained that a possible explanation to it is that unless you actually are working on cleansing your own face, on perfecting your own Lashon Kodesh, when you look at the tzaddik and you see your reflection, the reflection of how you're in the darkness. If your face is totally in the darkness, you don't even have any interest in cleansing your face, what happens is that the only thing that you notice is like, this is like disgusting. And you figure that it is the tzaddik that you're looking for. This is where the source of, of this disagreeability is. When it's in fact you. It's only when you're working on yourself, when you're trying to get to your Shemayim, when you're trying to reach Kedusha, then you're zoche to get into a level, b'chlal, that you'll know where the fault lies, which is a great favor. It's like a person, it's like, a doctor telling him that there's something that he needs to fix in himself, and he thinks the doctor is crazy. What's wrong with him? What do you want? And the Rebbe says that what's the pshat of perfection of Lashon Kodesh? Perfecting the Lashon Kodesh is the Kedushas Abris. And the Rebbe brings this inyan that when Adam Rishon, before the Tikkun, Adam Rishon was male and female together. The relationship was one which is achar be'achar. There was really no relationship between them. They just took each other for granted. This is the typical achar be'achar relationship. When we take someone else for granted, when the only person that actually counts, the only person who really matters is me. This is the epitome of achar be'achar. The separation of Adam and Chava created the matkala, created the mishkal, created the balance, created the left and the right, the giver and the taker. It opened up the possibility of relationship, of someone giving and someone receiving. Sometimes you're the giver, sometimes you're the receiver. And the way that the separation happens is they say that Kadosh Baruch Hu has separated Chava, like he cut Adam Rishon one of his sides and built it up, and it became Chava. Chava is the inyan of Dibur. Laila le'laila yechev das. The night to night will express das. Yecheve is the Lashon of Chava. Also, we have another proof of that. When Adam Rishon used, that's the Lashon, that's the language with which the world was created. Adam Rishon said, Lazoi sikore isha, to this creature will be called Isha. Why? Kimi ish lukachazos. It was taken from Ish. So you see that grammatically, it comes from the same root of Ish and Isha. This only makes sense if the language that Adam Rishon was using was Lashon Kodesh. So Chava is the one that is actually the inyan, represents and signifies the inyan of Dibur, of speech. It's also another remez, another hint that the Iker Tikkun of Lashon Kodesh, the main Tikkun of Lashon Kodesh, is totally on the Isha, is totally on a relationship with your wife. Your wife is the tool with which you can either achieve the perfection of Lashon Kodesh, or chas v'chalila verkehrt. And we went into great length on how this mechanism works. We said that your wife is actually the only person who really knows you. In fact, she knows you better than you know yourself. We said she just doesn't have the words with which to express it. So if you are working in your relationship with your wife in the proper way, your wife becomes an ezer, she becomes a help, she becomes an aid. She enables you to reach the Kedusha. Kedusha is Lashon Kodesh. There's no way to do it without it. And the Rebbe says that this is a bechino. He says because what happens is that Shleimus Lashon Kodesh is designed to actually destroy a very specific conglomeration of midas ras. In fact, all of them, 70, that belong to 70 nations. A little bit of nistaklus to what's the pshat of midas ras. We all have 3 levels upon which we operate. The level of thought, the level of machshava, the level of the midos, and the level of deeds, the level of ma'asim. Usually, the level that we want to spend the least time on is the one of midos. We either would like to just get down and do, be busy, it's just like, stop fooling around, just go ahead, get down and do it and just get on with it. Or we want to fantasize in thoughts and ponder things and that's why talk show on the radio, are so popular because people can get the call and say, what I think. Who cares what you think? No, but I want to tell you what my opinion is. What's wrong with you? First of all, the one who's guilty of everything is either Netanyahu or his wife or the mayor or whoever it is. I want to run into thoughts that have literally nothing to do with my life. You either want to run to the thought level or you want to run into the deed level. What happens is that you're creating a space. Rabbeinu says in Torah Memtes, he says that this is Brias Ha'olam. It sounds very Kabbalistic. He says the Kodesh Baruch Hu created the world. There was no space for the world to exist. So what happened was that the Kodesh Baruch Hu has created a vacant space with which to create the world, which to create the midos. In between the thoughts and the deeds, there's a space. This is called the space of boredom. If you're not thinking about something, if you're not doing anything, then you're bored. What's pshat if you're bored? What does it do? Boredom is a very, very important impetus because it pushes you to fill the void. The only trick is that you're not the only one there. There's another guest of honor there, which is called the Yetzer Hara. He wants to pull you into doing things, his way, midas ras, and you need to think machshavas tovas to build the olam as the midas inside yourself and be yourself spiritually. Midas, yes, we all are born with a natural proclivity and propensity to specific midas. Someone is a ragzan, someone is a kamtzan, someone is this, someone is that. But nevertheless, the midos are created. They're created through choice. And the thing that builds the midos is kedushas lashon kodesh, kedushas abris. The thing that ruins it is the opposite. So what you got here, a pitch, sports, of a sports game, of the game of the war, the battlefield, as it were. On one side, on this corner, stemming from Brooklyn, USA, 200 pounds, the killer from Manila, the Yetzer Hara that comes to bash you in. That's, the other corner, stemming from Ramat Bet Shemesh, whatever, 97-pound weakling. It's supposed to fight him. The way to fight him is, Rabbeinu says, Shleimus Lashon Kodesh. And we said that Shleimus Lashon Kodesh means, not necessarily just means speaking Hebrew. It means using language of Kedusha, using language that brings you closer to Kodesh Baruch Hu. B'ezrat Hashem, we'll talk a bit more about this on Motzei Shabbos, when we, B'ezrat Hashem, will devote to Lag BaOmer, because Lag BaOmer is Monday night. So B'ezrat Hashem will get to talk a little bit more about that, because this is the epitome of what Reb Shimon Bar Yochai is about. So Rabbeinu says that the Lashon Kodesh, when you reach that perfection, it acts as a pesticide, and it destroys that flame, that burning flame of 70 stars, the burning flame of all the 70 nations. Because all the 70 nations, each one has its own specialite of midara. This one is a smooth operator and a great con man. And this one is a great killer. This one is a great this one a great that. But there is one common denominator, as we said, as Tolkien says, one ring to bind them all, and this is Taivas Niyuf. This is the one that binds them all. That's the fire, that's the flame that wants to consume the Lashon Kodesh. On one side, there's Kedusha. On the other side, there's the Tumas Ha'amim. And in the middle, there's this vacant space. It's also called Klipas Noiga. Rabbeinu says what happens is, throughout the week, as we know, the Malchus, which is the Isha, which is the Lashon Kodesh, is delving in Lamata Masarat Tfachim, is delving in the place of the Klipos. On Shabbos, it pulls out. The legs are pulled out. From Raglea Yodas Mavis, its feet are entering the zone of the dead, the zone of death. The legs are being pulled up, and it's being pulled to the Kedusha. What happens is, so the Noiga wants to come after it, and once the Noiga wants to come after it, all the 70 bandits want to come over and swallow up the Kedusha. So Arizal explains that this is the time when the fire comes from above. That's the secret of washing on Erev Shabbos in hot water. There's a mitzvah to wash your head and your hands and your legs with hot water. This beats down, that's the fire, the Kedusha, that beats down the Medura, the flame of the 70 stars, and dumps him in what they call Nukba de Tahoma Rabbah. This is an abyss, an endless abyss of Tuma that there's no way to get out of there. And the Rebbe says that this is what it's called. This is what the Cheskel saw. It's called Chashmal. Chashmal means that Chayus Esh Memalalos. The word Chashmal means animals, living beings of a fire, speaking. Chayos esh, living beings of fire, memalois, speaking. So we explained that Chayos esh are telling you that this is the dibur, this is the speech. Chayos is Chava. Why is Chava called Chava? Ki hioiso em kol chai. Chayos means living. That's one denomination of Chava. Esh, this is where Chava comes from. You know, Ish ve'isha. The person has a yud extra. The woman has an hey extra. You know, zachu shchina b'neim, lo zachu esh b'neim. So the esh is the union of isha. Depends where you're taking it. Memalois, mem lamed is the 70 nations which is being chopped down through the chaya es memalois. Because mem and lamed, mal, is gematria 70. It also, I mean, what it actually means literally is lemoilel, you know, to break it down, to pieces, to make it stop existing. Litmalil. This is what they said. The Mishnah says that what you're allowed to, if you go into somebody else's field, you know, is you're allowed to take a grain of wheat and sort of like memalal biyada, you like rub it in your hand, and therefore, you know, get the chaff off of the kernel, and you'll be able to chew it. You'll be able to eat it. So breaking off the chaff comes from rubbing the finger. It's called melilois. It's called memalois. That the chayas eish cut down the mal, the 70, the fire of the 70 nations. And this v'zeh b'chinas mal mechashmal is a ben says she'em b'chinas medura shel shivim kochovim. This is the flame of 70 stars. Let me just put share the Likutei Moharan with you so we can take a look here. Okay, v'zeh b'chinas chashmal chayos esh memalois b'chinas chava isha b'chinas lashon kodesh. And it says, V'zeh b'chinas mal mechashmal. This is mal from chashmal, which is the flame of the 70 stars. That is being canceled out through the Loshen Kodesh. That's why it's called Loshen Kodesh. Why it's called Loshen Kodesh? Ki kol makom shata motza goder erva, any place where you found a boundary. You're not going after your own will. You're not going to satisfy what it is that you want. Again, this is also, B'ezrat Hashem, we'll speak about it more on Moshe Shabbos, when we speak about Reb Shimon and Lag BaOmer. This being cancelled out of the Loshen Kodesh. Hashem ze nikra Loshen HaKodesh. It's called HaKodesh, the Loshen of the holiness. Any place you find, you know, a boundary of licentiousness and immorality, atamoitze kedusha. And now Rabbeinu brings another proof. V'zeh sheperes Rashi al ken yazov ishes avi ves'ima v'davak be'ishtoi. Here, the Torah is being completely explicit. That's why a person needs to leave his mother and his father and stick with his wife. So Rashi says very plainly, Mikan v'davak be'ishto, and he says he should stick with his wife. He says, Mikan shenesar lahem harayos. From here you see that they were forbidden to have immoral, intimate relations. Ruach HaKodesh omeres ken. when you read the Rashi, the pshat of Rashi means that Ruach HaKodesh American just comes to tell you, who is saying Mikan Shenesan Ruach HaKodesh. That's the Ruach HaKodesh is it's a commentary. It's a commentary of Ruach HaKodesh in the Chumash that's saying, something. This is from here you learn, that they're forbidden in our eyes. But Rabbeinu is explaining it through the Remes. Ruach HaKodesh that Rashi mentions, Hainu Loshen HaKodesh. Como v'ruach piv kol tzavam. The ruach piv of HaKodesh Baruch Hu kol tzavam. Shaladei Loshen Kodesh. It is through the Loshen Kodesh. Nesav niskasha tavish l'tavis sniuf. The tavis sniuf is being bound. It's being harnessed. Because as we said, there's no such thing really as a taiva which is unnecessary. The Yetzer Hara is necessary. Without the Yetzer Hara, there's no renewal. There's no creativity. There's no building up. There's no growing. There's no growth. She says, in other words, it doesn't let that aspect, when this particular inclination to have a relationship with a person and his wife goes out of hand, and it becomes a taivas snio for the shivim kachavim, which is a whole flame. It's this it's a consuming flame, a self-consuming flame. When Loshen Kodesh, it binds it, and holds it in its boundaries. She'ein lo shlita al Israel, it doesn't have control on Israel. Al dei Loshen Kodesh, it is through Loshen Kodesh it cannot control Israel. B'fchinas Loshen noifel al Loshen. Now we understand the expression Loshen noifel al Loshen. That it's like a play on words is Loshen noifel al Loshen. Isha, it's like a play on words. No, here it means there is a confrontation between one Loshen, is Loshen Kodesh, and there is the Loshen of the Amim, the flame of the 70 nations. And the Loshen Kodesh defeats Neufel on the Lashonis Amim. Sharuach Shtus, as Rabbeinu says, Nisbatel al der Ruach HaKodesh. The Ruach Shtus is being annihilated through the Ruach HaKodesh. V'zeh b'chinas now Rabbeinu wraps it up to understand how all this works together with Chava Isha, Tikkun Abris, and the initial creation of Chava Imenu, from that dual creature, initial primordial creature, V'etzet Adam, Zocho v'Nekeva bara Oisam. V'zeh b'chinas Tikkun Abris. This concept, when you are controlling the taivas sniuf, the taivas needs to be there, because otherwise there's no progeny, there's no kiyum to the world. That Yetzer Hara, nothing moves, nothing grows. But it has to be bound. It has to be harnessed by the Ruach HaKodesh. When this is happening, zeh b'chinas Tikkun Abris. This is called Tikkun Abris. And we mentioned that Tikkun Abris means proper relationship between a person and his wife. When a person thinks about somebody else other than his wife, this is Gam Abris. Because a man and a wife become a bris nisuin, become in a covenant of marriage, which means something that is never broken. You can't go ahead and say I don't do anything. I just look. I'm married, but I ain't dead. No. This is Gam Abris. This is Gam Abris. Shehu b'vchinas Ruach HaKodesh. That's Ruach HaKodesh. That's the Tikkun HaBris. How do we know that Ruach HaKodesh has to do with the Bris Kodesh? B'vchinas v'lo kama Ruach Be'ish. When Bnei Israel came to Eretz Israel and the spies came to Jericho, and they went to the house of Rahab, where the brothel over there, and she recognized who they were. And when people were looking for them, she hid them. And then she came to talk to them. And she said to them, the minute that we heard what's happening, that you guys are coming, and what happened with Yamsuf and everything that happened with you, everybody got so scared that I had absolutely no business anymore. It was a Corona time, as far as her brothel is concerned. Nobody came. People didn't have the bandwidth to visit brothels. They could do nothing about it. So you see that ruach is used here, the in of bris. It says when HaKadosh Baruch Hu have cut Adam Rishon and separated Chava, it's called Vayisgor Basar Tachtena. He closed off the back of Adam Rishon, because like in every incision, there's raw flesh, so it has to put skin on it. Vayisgor Basar Tachtena. So Rashi says again, says, when you take a look at it from above, it looks like just Pashat Pshat. The only place that had to be closed is the place of where the cut was. That's the only thing that needs, and then it had to be covered with skin. Everything else was okay. But it says the Mekom HaChatach, the place of the cut. Rabbeinu says, "Ainu chitu chadibur." Chitu chadibur. This is how the speech gets formed and chiseled out of the sound that comes from your throat, using your throat, your tongue, the roof of your mouth, your teeth, your lips. And this cuts the dibur. It makes a word out of mere sound. So the chatach is the dibur. And how do we know this is Chava? This is Dibur. V'zeh vayiven. He built it. Asa ke'oitzer. That he made Chava. He constructed her like a silo. She'ikar. What he means is she'ikar asiya v'tikar shloshen kodesh. That how do you actually, now the Rebbe says, basically what it means, that a silo means that it is wide on the bottom and it's narrow on the top. So the woman is built like that because she needs to carry the baby. So she's constructed in such a way, it's more stable if it's wide on the bottom and it's narrow on the top, so there's less pressure on the walls. So he says, Asok v'even Asok oitzer, it made it like a silo. But what is alluded to in here, Berem, is she'ikar asiyah v'tikun shloshen kodesh, the main construction, the main perfection, the main refinement of Loshen Kodesh. What does it depend on? Tola beyiras Hashem yoitzarei. What is the treasure? What is the silo of HaKadosh Baruch Hu? Is Yiras Hashem. How do we know? Sof davar kol nishmas elokim yira. V'zeh ke'oitzer shel chitim. Ke'oitzer shel chitim. This is like a silo of wheat. Hainu yira. The Yiras Hashem is an oitzer. It's a treasury. It's a silo. Shebo toloi asiya v'tikun shel chita. What is chita doing here? What is wheat doing here? Chita is, if you remember, the gematria of Chita is 22. This is the 22 letters that constitute the Loshen Kodesh. Kaf ves oisher Loshen Kodesh. V'zeh b'chinas Elokim diber b'kodshei, shediber HaKodesh, diber b'kodshei. You have everything here together. You have Elokim, this is the year, You have Dibur, this is the Chava Isha, the Dibur, Bekodshoi. This is the Ruach HaKodesh. Shedibur HaKodesh, Toila, Be'elokim Yira. I'm stop sharing for a minute and get open up this subject a little bit. As I started saying, there is a natural tendency. There's a natural tendency to run away either to the level of thought, philosophizing, fantasizing, whatever it is, or to bury oneself in doing. Just, as long as I'm doing, I'm busy, it keeps me out of trouble, whatever it is. There's no place for working on the midos. What is actually the battle between the Medura, the flame of 70 stars, and the Lashon Kodesh? It's a battle over the Ratzon. It's a battle over the will. The Baal HaSulam explains in the Psicha to Kabbalah, he says that the only thing that actually was created, that needed to be created, something from nothing, was the will to receive. Kadosh Baruch Hu is infinite. Kadosh Baruch Hu contains everything. Kadosh Baruch Hu doesn't miss anything. So what had to be created? Something from nothing. Everything was already yesh. Everything was already an isness. Just has to be shaped. I said the Kadosh Baruch Hu created something from nothing. What was created from nothing? What was missing? So he says the thing that was missing is the will to receive. This is something Kadosh Baruch Hu does not have. Kadosh Baruch Hu doesn't have anybody. He doesn't miss anything. And there isn't anybody else from him to receive from. This is the one thing that Kadosh Baruch Hu had to create. And in fact, it's the only thing that he needed to create. Because the wonderful thing about Ratzon is that the will already creates the wherewithal to fulfill itself. As they say, where there's a will, there's a way. The main difference between the Medura of Shimon Kachavim and the Lashon Kodesh, between Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai and the Roman Empire, they're both based on Ratzon. They're both based on willingness, on willpower. The question is, what do you do with it? Without willpower, nothing happens. The hardest thing in the world to do is to pick up, the lightest thing in the world. It doesn't weigh anything if you don't want to pick it up. It's easier to pick up a heavy suitcase than to pick up a pen if you don't want to pick it up. The will is the thing that drives its fulfillment. The Romans, the Goyim, the Medura of Shimon Kachavim says, you know what the will was created for? To satisfy me. It's for me to have fun. A steak, yay thick. Aged beef. Why? Because I want. It pulls the person into decrepit midos because it's all about me. It's what I want. I want this and I want that. As we said before, this is the thing that kills relationship. I want this and I want that. The Lashon Kodesh means I want the Kodesh Baruch Hu. I want the Kodesh Baruch Hu. I want the Kodesh Baruch Hu. All right, so how many times are you going to say it? We heard it. No. I want the Kodesh Baruch Hu. And again, and again, and again. And the trials and tribulations that the person goes through during his quest to wrestle the Ratzain from the Yetzer Hara into the Kedusha is all about Diburim de Kedusha, whatever it is that you can do. Rabbeinu says, if you start in the morning, you go to daven and you went through davening and your head wasn't there. Okay. Say a few words afterwards, B'kavana. Do whatever it is that you can. Because you have to understand the only thing that you have, the only thing that you bring to the table is Ratzon. You ask Kadosh Baruch Hu to have a Ratzon to serve a Kadosh Baruch Hu. Shleimus Lashon Kodesh doesn't mean that I want a Kadosh Baruch Hu and I'm burning. Nobody can even talk to me. I'm burning so much. No, Shleimus Lashon Kodesh means that I come to the tefillah in the morning and I feel like davening, like I'm looking for, I don't know, to have an itch on my shoulder. I mean, my head is not there. I can't believe this now. I have to do this. And then you take the siddur and you say, son, how about if I just start from Hoidu? But Hoidu is already Olam Eitzir. That's not Olam Asiyah. You have to fix Olam Asiyah first. Oh, man. Do I have to? If you want to build the world, yeah, you do. You start from Odin Olam. And then you go into the Akedah. Oh man, do I have to go with the Akedah? You just go and like 3/4 of the way into the Akedah, you realize you don't even know what you said. You're not even saying the words. Rabbeinu says in Sefer Amidas that when a person says a word and he doesn't finish it, he speaks in half words. This is Pgama Bris. This is akin to Pgama Bris because the finished word is the vessel. That's the woman. Half a word means you have all the machshava, but it's incomplete. This is mamish Pgama Bris. Okay, so what do I do when I come in the morning and I'm supposed to daven, and man, I really don't feel like davening? What do I do? The answer is I come to Kodesh Baruch Hu before I daven, and I open it up. So, I'm supposed to daven now. To be totally honest with you, I wouldn't say it's the last thing I want to do, but I really don't feel like doing this. And ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu, do me a favor, help me daven. Okay, so what am I supposed to do? Okay, I said it. What now? What now is you just concentrate on one thing. You just concentrate on saying the words. Say the words. You know, Adon, Olam, Asher, Malach, B'terem, Kol, Yitzur, Nivra. Just say the words. Rabbeinu says, you know something? Tell yourself that you only need to say b'chavana this paragraph that you're holding. Or the Mailam just mean the words Pasha, don't tear the heavens, don't do any of that. Just means Adon, okay, Olam, in the world. Asher Malach, that reigned. Before any creation was created. Like that. Pasha, without just recognize the words, that's all. Rabbeinu says you should know that you have koyach, all your koyachas in you are pining, are dying to get into the davening. So Rabbeinu says in Torah, hey, this is the ikar achiyus, the main life force you receive from davening, the main rejuvenation you receive from davening. That's why. So if the only thing you need to do is just say the words and recognize what does the word that I'm saying means. That's it. You don't need to do more than that. It's the only thing you need to do. Yeah, but you make it sound easy, I really don't want to daven, man. Let's just be honest about it. I don't feel like doing all that. I mean, I'm coming there, I have my talis and children, and finally I got them on. By the time I get to davening, I feel like, oh man, I can't believe I have to say the whole thing. And now you're telling me that I need to, I want to get it over with. I want to get to the other side. I want to run. I want to be busy. I want to run to the world of thought or the world of deed. I don't want to work here on my midos. This is Avodas Hashem. This is Ruach HaKodesh. This is Loshen Kodesh, what you're doing. By the way, this is a very, very good telltale sign that you're dealing with Kedusha if you don't feel like doing it. It's a very, very good siman that this is something you should do. If there are like two things in front of you, one of them you really want to do, the other one you don't really want to do it, it's usually the one you don't want to do is usually the right thing to do. Just the rule of thumb. Not always, but most times. So what you need to ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu before you start davening is this. Ribono Shel Olam, I'm going to daven, and you know me. I want to get to the end of it already and have it behind me. Let alone I don't feel like saying Tikkun HaKloli afterwards, or Parshas Hayira, Parshas Tshuva, Parshas Aman. I want the money. I don't want to say Parshas Aman. I have no patience for that. Ribono Shel Olam, help me, please, right now to know what I'm doing now, what I'm going down to do. I'm going to daven. This is my doing. This is the avodah in front of me, the one I'm supposed to devote myself and clear out my calendar. Tell the secretary, hold all my calls. Now there's an hour, maybe an hour and a half. This is it. That's all I got to do. I just got to daven. Accept it upon yourself. That's it. My next hour and a half, it belongs to davening. I can stand and stare at the wall. I can do whatever I want. But the next hour and a half or whatever, an hour and a half, is all devoted to davening. You ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu to give you this, and suddenly it becomes easy. Because as we said before, Tov Hashem lakol. Hashem is good for everything. It's not only good for total Yeshua. Kadosh Baruch Hu is great and effective for half steps as well. The only thing you need to do is you need to recognize what is the next step that is required from you. Why don't I want to daven? Because I don't have the patience to do it. Because it seems like a chore that I need to get rid of, you know, and not something that I really want to do. If I know that this is what I need to do, this is my work, this is my goal, this is what I'm all about, once Kodesh Baruch Hu helps you, and he will, if you ask him, he will help you. Suddenly you lean back and says, cool, you know, have talis and film. And I'm saying words before Kodesh Baruch Hu, word for word, every single word. You know, anybody who is familiar with nuclear physics, which I'm not, but anybody who is with astrophysics, whatever it is, as they know, the Ramban speaks about it in the Parish on Bereshis. It says in the very, very beginning, you know, all that was created was the energy, was the Dibur, was light. We are all made out of light. What happened is something is called quarks. Quarks are like, you know, remember that when you used to make ice in ice trays? You know, you fill it up with water and you put it in a freezer and become ice cubes. Quarks are this kind of ice trays where energy becomes mass, becomes matter. That's why when you split matter, there's a huge release of energy. Every single word that you say, good or better, okay, is a quark. It packs energy and it creates a reality. That's what you're doing when you're davening. If you daven, if you ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu to just give you the patience to sit down and work, just that, just sit down and work, be willing to say every word, and slowly by slowly, just try to say, you know, to mean, look, what am I saying? What is it? That's it. As you go along, suddenly you feel that you're getting into it and you're burning. Because all your koiches are just waiting for you to do this step work. You know, ask tell HaKadosh Baruch Hu you don't feel like davening. Tell HaKadosh Baruch Hu that you really feel like being over it, so please help you, you know, so that you'll be able to prepare yourself and just clear a calendar. Now I'm davening. That's it. This is what I do. If I daven mekavana, I don't daven mekavana. I do this. I just watch the wall. I don't care. This is my time with the Kodesh Baruch Hu. What will help you? When you look at the words, you say the words, the full word, you try to recognize it. One little paragraph at a time. Before you know it, you'll be flying. This is the way that Lashon Kodesh is being built. It seems like davening is like, it's not inspired to do this, you know. It's not learning Torah. It's just something that you need to, you know, get over with, and run off, you know. Well, I remember when before the Corona, you know, before Corona is BC, right? This is BC, before Corona, right? We used to go to shul, and on Thursdays and Mondays, you know, after the Chazos Hashatz, suddenly the Shatz was the Shliach Tzibur would say Kaddish, and we go like, whoa, hey, what's and inside you go, yay! We're not, no, you know, not talking today. If you only knew that Kriyas Torah in the shul is the Ruach Nevuah of Moshe Rabbeinu. And when there's such an isgalus of the Ruach Nevuah, you have to say Tachnun before, because there's such Kedusha coming, that with the Kedusha come Dinim. And you have to bear Kodesh Baruch Hu. You're going through an unbelievable process. Anybody who wants to find a little bit more about this, should see Tereches Chelek Beis in Likutei Moharan. Every single word is a gem. As Rabbeinu said, Teres Samechei. It's a precious gem. It's a precious flower that is one with the Neshama. If you actually put your koyach into this, you'll discover you practically cannot go on davening. You become so enmeshed with what you're saying. This is the avodah of Shlemus Lashon Kodesh. Excuse me, allow me for a minute, just 1 second. It's okay. I was going to sneeze. I apologize. Let's see, somebody's trying to tell something. They asked me if there's a problem with the connection. I don't know. I mean, it seems to be okay. Anyhow, be it as it may. Dibur. Chava Isha is a quark. It creates a reality. Shlosh Kodesh is not just davening. It's not just Hisbodedus. It's also Shmir Saloshan. I don't want to get into that subject because this is a whole, different pack of worms, can of worms. This in of Lashon Hara. But Hoinos Dvarim, when you speak to somebody, how do your words sound? Okay, I'm going to shul, I'm going to speak really nicely to everybody. But what happens when you speak to your wife? What happens when you speak to your children? Well, they don't count. What do you mean they don't count? Of course they do. They count more than anybody else. Don't be mitzvah anyone. In fact, the first person that you should be very careful on how you say what you say not to cause tsar. If you hold yourself to be a firm guy, yeah, is your wife and your children. Don't cause tsar. Your wife is not your adversary. Your children are not your playthings. They're not these little short things that run around that either give you trouble or they give you nachas, but just made for bring me a cup of water or get out of here and don't bother me kind of thing. No. They're full human beings. The moment they're born complete, a full personality. As we said before, the only thing that's missing is just after you bum a cigarette from you. There's a complete person. Anos Dvarim, say things in a way that doesn't cause tsar to people. Yeah, but I'm right. I'm telling her that she should do this or she shouldn't do that. She should listen to me because I'm telling her the right thing to do. Yeah, but how are you saying it? How do you make her feel about herself when you say it? That she wants to beat you up with a baseball bat? Or you make her feel wonderful? This is Shlemus Lashon Kodesh. This is what it's all about. B'ezrat Hashem, Kadosh Baruch Hu should help us all. We should all be zoche to Shlemus Lashon Kodesh. She'll be able to harness, the all the Taivas Soldi, take whatever urges the Kadosh Baruch Hu gave us, this Ratzon, this Inyan that Kadosh Baruch Hu gave to us, to harness it so that we're able to serve Kadosh Baruch Hu with it, and achieve Be'ezer Hashem a Shleimus Hashem Kodesh. And B'ezrat Hashem, win the battle. This is what it's about. Okay, anybody?
I got it. Good, good.
Shkoyer.
I mean,
Rob,
I gotta post these down. Yeah, I know. I'm just waiting
you
for
just
the
disconnect
very
the
important
dot.
for this. It's very important I get the mail now. I'm sorry.
Okay, there's all kinds of people talking all over. Everybody should be gesund. Everybody should have a good Shabbos. Be matzliach with everything you do. B'ezrat Hashem, we'll see you Motzei Shabbos, where Be'ezer Hashem will be speaking about Lag BaOmer and Shem Bar Yochai. Good Shabbos. Good Shabbos. Good Shabbos, everybody.